In today's video, I'm dropping down in stakes, playing 1-2 no limit, $300 buy-in at the Big Easy Casino in Hollandale Beach, South Florida. First hand here, I overcall with pocket threes versus a $5 straddle. I just want to try to see a flop with a hand like this, maybe hit a set and win a big pot. We end up going 5 ways to a queen 6-3 board, hitting bottom set. I lead out for a small bet of $5 before the button goes all in for 56 bucks.
Trust me, baby. I'm good at spellings and maths. That's me. Spellings and maths is me. I maybe can't call you, but I can spell it.
Twice as nice?
We're going twice.
I got a big hand.
How big?
Full house.
You have a full house?
6-3.
I make a full house on the first board and a set on the second board. We were actually up against queen 10s, so she did have some outs on the second board, hitting a higher full house, but we fade those queens and 10s and end up winning over a $100 pot here, our first hand. The middle seat is terrible for poker vlogging, so a seat opens to my left. I slide over there and straddle on the button for $5. There's a bunch of calls for 5. King, queen of diamonds for me. I bump it here, last act of 30 bucks, and I get 4 callers. No surprise here at 1-2. A lot of people just playing passive, limp calling pre-flop. King, queen suited. 5 ways to a queen high board, giving me top pair, king kicker. Small blind now checks first to act. Under the gun player, who first limped and then called my $30, leads out for a small sizing according to the pot, only $30. Middle position player folds. Late position player calls $30 as well, and the action's over on me. So just to recap here, there's a bunch of calls. I bump it to $30 pre-flop, get 4 callers, flop top pair, and now a player leads out small, and then a player calls in between. What do I do here with my top pair? Do I just call and play it safe, or do I raise? I mean, if I had an overpair or ace-queen, I would definitely be raising, but raising could be a little bit too thin. It's possible this player's leading out with 2 pair or a set, but I feel like he would be betting bigger into a $150 pot. I think if he had a set or 2 pair, he might be betting something like 75 or 100. The player who just called probably doesn't have too strong of a hand either. And given the fact that he did not raise pre-flop, I don't think he has aces or kings or ace-queen. All that being said, I decide to raise here for value to $125 to go. After this raise, something happens that I was not expecting. The small blind player who checked first now calls $125, only leaving himself with a little over $100 left in his stack. At first, I thought this was a super strong play, like he must have had a set or 2 pair, but then thinking back, leaving himself $100 behind with a set or 2 pair doesn't make any sense. He would just jam those hands, so I think he most likely has a straight draw. Back over to the initial better for $30. He's thinking, and as he folds, he somewhat flashes his cards, and I can see what looks like a queen as he folds, and the middle position player folds as well. So given the fact that this player has a queen, makes me think that definitely this small blind player has a draw. Going heads up now, this pot is getting big, hundreds of dollars in the middle to an offsuit 4. No option now, I go all in for his last $100, back over to the small blind who calls, and we're all in here. Second hand of the night, gonna round out this board 2 times, 2 bricks. I show king queen and he shows Jack 10 for an open-ended straight draw that misses, and I was pretty pleasantly surprised here. I was a little concerned that he could have flopped a set or 2 pair on me, but luckily he just had the straight draw. We had one of his outs with the king, and we hold up to win a rather large pot at 1-2, stacking this player, taking down over $200 of profit in this hand.
I guess you could go like a seat.
Well, you wouldn't have played it like
Yeah,
that.
what happened?
You maybe would have folded.
Player chips on 10.
It's the player, not the seat. Running a little hot with some card distribution here, where there's a raise to 10, queen jack suited for me next to act. I re-raise small, trying to isolate this raiser to $25. Isolation does not work when the big blind cold calls, initial raiser calls. So technically here, a 3-bet pot. To an ace-10 high board with 2 clubs, I flop a monster draw. Straight draw and flush draw. I went back and forth in my head whether I wanted to bet big or small. Decided to bet small, $25. Big blind player calls 25 with only $75 left in his stack. Other player folds. Looking back, probably should have just bet the pot or over the pot. I have so much equity, just kind of want to push that and try to get all my opponents to fold out anything but an ace. But either way, going to the turn, which is a brick, I miss. He checks and I check. River card's a 5. I miss everything. I check back on this river, and he wins with King 10 offsuit. Probably a hand that would have folded to a $100 bet on the flop, but instead he called versus a 1/3 bet, and we lose. So far, so good this session, up around $400 early, about 1 hour in. I straddle on the button, and a player who's been pretty quiet so far this session raises to $25. Pretty big raise. I make the call with pocket 7s, and one other player calls. Flop comes down 2-3-6 with a flush draw. Pretty good board for pocket 7s. Big blind checks, and now initial raiser puts out a bet of $40. Can't go anywhere just yet. I think she could be doing this still with hands like ace-king, ace-queen, king-queen, ace-jack suited. So I make the call for 40, and the other player folds. Now heads up in position to another 6, bringing in that flush draw as well. I have an overpair and a 7-high flush draw, expecting her to check on this turn card a lot of the time, but she continues for a $100 bet, leaving herself with $300 behind. Now, this bet is representing full houses, flushes, and big overpairs. I just don't think she's going to be bluffing that often with a hand like ace-king with the ace of spades, to be honest. I don't know, but I think against some players I might get sticky and call down. Against her, I decide to fold my overpair, and I lose this pot. It has been a few years since I grinded out the low-stakes poker down here in South Florida, but definitely things are coming back to me in this short time period. I mean, it's fairly easy to win at these low stakes. You just have to be patient. You just have to be disciplined, tight, aggressive. You want to be the most aggressive player at the table, but you don't want to punt either. When players do not like to fold, you should not be trying to bluff them all the time. And also, when players do not tend to bluff that much, you really don't want to be hero calling them much. You just want to be waiting for big hands in position and value betting to the max, because they will most likely always pay you off. I don't really take my advice, however, when I get bored and raise Jack 7 suited from under the gun to $15. Small blind and big blind call. Could just let this hand go pre-flop. At a passive table, I can get away with raising and just seeing a flop without getting 3-bet, but you just don't need to be putting yourself in a spot to be playing a bad hand out of position. Either way, I get lucky and flop top pair 3 ways. I bet out $30, and I get a call from the small blind, and I get a call from the big blind as well. Turn card's a 3, now bringing a 1-liner straight to any 5, and bringing me a flush draw as well. When it checks to me, I decide to take the free card and check this one back, and I hit an offsuit jack on the river, giving me top 2 pair. Now, the small blind player shuffles around her chips a little bit, looks over at us, and then decides to check. Big blind player now leads out for a $50 bet. I'm sitting here with top 2 pair. There is a 1-liner to any straight. I don't feel like he's betting a worse hand on this board. Would he just bet a single pair jack? Would he turn a 6 or a 7 into a bluff? I decide to make what I think is a disciplined fold with top 2 pair. Small blind player folds as well, and the big blind player shows a jack of spades. The jack of spades, meaning that I don't think we're ever losing in this situation. He must have had jack X of spades, and we make a bad fold. I button straddle to $5. There's 2 calls for $5. I peel back ace jack offsuit, a hand that is definitely good enough to raise. Like I said, you want to be trying to play hands in position at low stakes and raising up your premium-ish hands. Ace jack offsuit seems pretty good against 2 open limps. $15 to go. Both my opponents make the call. 3 ways to 5-5-8 with 2 spades. Even though I don't hit anything on this board, I actually think ace high is going to be good a lot of the time. My opponents can have straight draws, they can have Broadway cards, they can have flush draws. So when it checks to me, I actually put out a small value bet here of $15, thinking I can get called by all those hands that I mentioned. Straight draws, flush draws, even just 2 overcards, looking to get lucky. Both my opponents end up making the call here, and an offsuit 3 on the turn when they check to me. Not going to continue to bet after getting 2 calls on the flop. So I check this one back and hit top pair, jack kicker, most likely the best hand, when I hit an ace on the river. Both of my opponents check over to me, and something that I see a lot at any stakes, but most likely lower stakes, is when you have a hand like this and you hit top pair, you may just be afraid to bet, the fear of getting check raised or fear of having someone have a better kicker than you, so you may check back a hand like ace-jack on this board, just trying to get to showdown. But in these kind of situations, when players are showing no strength at all, you just have to value bet. Try to value bet thin. So I make it $45. First player folds. Second player looks like an old man coffee type. one of these guys that just doesn't like to fold any pair. Once he's tanking here, I think it's pretty obvious that he has a pocket pair, maybe an 8 or an ace x of spades hand. After thinking for a while, he puts in the call. I show the ace jack. He taps the table, mucks his cards, and another pot is being pushed our way. One somewhat fun thing they do here at Big Easy is they do double board 2-card bomb pots every single dealer change. So not as fun as double board PLO bomb pots, but hey, still pretty fun. I've got 9-4 offsuit. I completely missed the top board, but on the bottom board, I flop trips. When there's a bet for 40 and a call for 40, I'm just going to call with my trip 4s with a 9 kicker. Given the fact that my kicker is not that good, I am multi-way here. Just going to play in position and see what happens on the turn. Top board gives me some outs to a straight, and bottom board fills me up for a full house. I'm feeling pretty good about my 9-4 offsuit. First player who bet on the flop now continues for $100. So I think it's pretty obvious she's got something big here. Second player now goes all in for over $200. And I think in my spot with a full house, could be chopping and getting quartered here, but I'm just going to have to go with it. So I jam all in as well for over $500. Action back over on the initial bettor who bet out $100, and she is not happy about it. And given the fact that she is not happy about it, that means that she doesn't have quad 3s or 4. She must be playing the top board. And eventually she does put in the call for $500. And now we are playing about a $1,500 double board bomb pot with a full house on the bottom board.
Jack is no good, huh?
I'll count this at the end, okay?
Wow.
Show me. Outside.
Keep Linda, you're gonna school. Full house.
Fours full of 3s in the bottom and 6-5 on top. Wait, I'm here. Okay, so you guys take your money. Take your money. He has a full house. Look, there, you see? Okay, take your money.
Lucky for me, both of my opponents were playing the top board. I am going to win half of this pot, basically going to be chopping up the smaller $220 stack, but we're still profiting over $100 in this bomb pot leading into the last hand of the night. It's not a 1-2 no limit vlog without a crazy cooler. There is an early position raised by the old man coffee who paid me off with ace jack earlier. A player next to act who seems fairly active re-raises, and I've got pocket 6s, and I decide to fold this hand. The button player now puts in a 4-bet, which you hardly ever see at these low stakes. And then the old man coffee goes all in for around $500. The player to his left goes all in as well. The button goes all in, and there is a 3-way all in. Aces versus ace king versus pocket queens, and somehow pocket queens finds the 2-outer on the river to scoop this one.
I scooped it!
On the river. You're a river rat. Amazing, got cracked twice today.
You ran all day long, me and you.
Both times that I had it.
Ace King, I knew it.
Even though the table is pretty deep stack, I got a 5-10 game to run tomorrow. It's 12 o'clock. I end up racking up my chips, heading to the cage, and cashing out for the night. This place definitely brings back the memories, and I gotta move quick because Mr. Security Man over there told me that I can't make videos out here in the parking lot. Little do they know, I just made an entire video inside the casino. Anyway, this place brings back memories, that is for sure. Came here in 2019 and a little bit of 2020 to grind some 1-2 no limit back in the day when I was trying to build up my bankroll, and games were good back then. The games are still pretty damn good today. A lot of money on the table. I had $761 when I cashed out, bought in for $300, so that is a profit of $461 on the night. Guy next to me who cracked pocket aces had over $1,000. Some woman had $600. Some guy had $500. Another guy $300. So deep stack straddles on. It's just funny though. You always forget kind of like the shenanigans and the craziness that goes down at the 1-2 No Limit streets, and just all sorts of people from all across the world, different backgrounds and different stories, different ages, just come together and play poker. You got the angry guy, the funny guy, the drunk guy, the wannabe pro. It's funny, man. 1-2 No Limit, public games. You know, I kind of miss the grind a little bit. I kind of miss just sitting there, you know, waiting for big hands, and you know, the pots being super important to me. So anyway, it was a fun session. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I like to switch it up a little bit, like to take you guys back to some smaller stakes poker to show that it is possible, obviously, to win money at the low stakes. If you're looking for a part-time job, if you're looking to make it, you're looking to try to build your bankroll, it's definitely still possible at 1-2. Just kind of play, you know, good solid poker, good solid ranges, no bluffing really, and just try to hit some hands and get paid off, because these people do not like to fold. And that will remind me just a little bit at the end here. I'm going to talk about the book that I was working on last year. It is still going to be coming out. Still working on it, trying to figure out ways to get it on the internet and get it to be sold to people, but I'm working on it. Should be out hopefully by 2025. It's going to be the 1-2 No Limit guide to basically winning at low stakes poker. So we won tonight, over $400 of profit. Tomorrow I got my game at Seminole Casino Coconut Creek. It's over midnight. It's past midnight now. I'm tired. Gonna go home to my dogs. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I'll see you.
A few days after filming this vlog, I do something I've never done before. I go watch an NFL football game. It only took me 8 years, but I am finally going to the Hard Rock Stadium, just about 20 minutes away from my house, to watch the Miami Dolphins play the New York Jets. It's a beautiful winter day, and man, is this stadium nice. Aqua, white, and orange filling the stands, a beautiful blue skies and clouds, and I've got some amazing seats to watch a very exciting game where the Dolphins win in dramatic overtime fashion. Alright guys, this time it's for real. Until next time, I'll see ya.